Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Megs, and if you're just visiting me for the first time, welcome, good to see you, nice to meet you. And if you're coming back to my channel, good to see you again as well. So today I actually wanted to do a little bit of a swatch party. I haven't done one of these on my channels, or maybe inadvertently I haven't called it that, but I want to do a swatch party on the palettes as well as some singles I have received from Give Me Glow. This is the first time I have tried Give Me Glow and have tried any of their singles, and so yeah, for Black Friday I purchased quite a few. And we're gonna go through them. I've filmed this before, but the way I was swatching and my singles and all that, I'm not down yet with having to show the swatches and how I'm swatching them. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with the actual physical palette that I ordered and that I have in my collection, and I'm incredibly excited to try all of these. Listen, indie is where it's at as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a primarily and only indie channel, but I do love a good indie shadow. But I have to tell you, when it comes to eyeshadows, indie has my heart. So let's get started. Stop blabbering on. So the first one here is the Juicy Olive, right? Yeah, Juicy Olive palette. So if you are new to my channel, and maybe if you aren't new to my channel, I may not have completely gone over the kind of colors that I love to have. Green is definitely one of them, especially when it's in an olive green or a khaki green, forest greens, those kinds of colors I really like. Anything that's rich and it has like kind of deep, interesting tones. This is definitely no exception. Okay, so let's start off with this one here. I don't know which is the best way to do it. So if you have any tips, tricks, or things like how you like these done, then please, by all means, add some comments below. I'm going to start with Dry Martini here. Dry Martini is an olive yellowy tone. I would say it's a mid-tone, very smooth. Oh, that's so nice. I forgot. Okay, so we're going to put that, I think, here, and just so, that's so pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay. Cocktails is a really deep, almost black. You probably could, if you wanted to use it instead of a black, use that. Again, nice and smooth, really lovely. What's interesting is that I've known Give Me Glow, or I've heard about Give Me Glow because of their shimmers, and their pan sizes are massive. So, and but their mattes are actually quite nice too so far, that I've swatched them, and the one time that I've actually put it on my eye. Okay, the next one here is Shaken Not Stirred, and I'm just doing 1, 2, 3 kind of rotations there so that you're not thinking that I'm digging right into it, and just very light, like very light hand. Oh, that's so nice. That's so freaking nice. Okay. Next one down here is Garnish, which I say is definitely more of a yellowy, golden, green kind of color. So that's it right there. Yeah, definitely has more of a kind of a limey, chartreusey kind of color, but it's so freaking pretty. And then Dry Martini. Let's see, I'm just gonna wipe my hands here, because this could get messy real quick. Dry Martini is this one right here. It, again, is more of a mid-tone, less of a yellow green than this one here. This definitely has more, I would say, more cool tone to it. Really quite lovely. I wouldn't, yeah, it's still more of a khaki, kind of a green to it, but definitely more green than yellow. And then lastly is Vodka-tini. I say this is probably closest to Dry Martini. I'd say these two are pretty close. But then this one definitely has more of a yellowness to it. Okay, we're going to swatch that right underneath. Oh my goodness, love it! So there is the Juicy Olive palette. Now, I will say, looking at this, I think you are going to be limited in the number of looks and how much they are going to differ between each look. Because I think that you pretty much, this is kind of one-dimensional a little bit. I mean, yes, you've got shimmers and mattes, but I think this is going to be more of an adjunct to add to kind of a palette where you either add it to other ones or you need other colors to add to this. If I want a full-on green olivey look, obviously this is going to be a go-to, and you do have this cocktails to deepen it up, which does help, right? But I think you will be a little bit limited, but I don't care because I just love these grungy, olivey kind of colors. Again, you're going to hear the word grungy potentially a little too often in my eyeshadow videos because that's what I like, and that's the quickest way to get my point across and what how I can describe things. So yeah, so that is Beautiful Juicy Olive by Give Me Glow. Okay, let's move on to the singles. Now, I do have singles, but I also have a palette form, like a singles in a palette form. So one of which is the Vintage Rose. So I'm gonna go with those potentially first. These shadows are stunning. I am not a pink person. I generally don't like to wear a lot of pink, but something about this particular palette and its aesthetic really, really caught my eye, and how the colors were put together. And yeah, they're absolutely gorgeous. So the first one I'm going to start off with is Copper Rose. This is from the Vintage Rose, as I said, palette. And 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to swirl my finger in there, and let's put it way up here because I have a few to get by. That's so freaking pretty. Look at the shine on that. So this is a very good color name for it. I would say it's a nice copper rose, rose gold type. It definitely has a beautiful, beautiful, smooth, buttery finish to it. That's it there if you want to see it up close. Absolutely gorgeous. These are the kinds of pinks I enjoy wearing. Like, yeah, that's just gorgeous. Okay, let's move on to a next one here. So when the package came, the Vintage Rose was separately packaged in a cute little mesh tool type bag, and then obviously the Juicy Olive palette was separate with some nice bubble wrap, and then the Coconut Slushie and all the other singles that are kind of just random singles that I picked came in a nice bubble pack as well. So always a worry, especially when you're dealing with delicate kind of formulas, which I do feel some of the ones from Give Me Glow, especially the shimmery, really metallic ones, are a little more delicate than, say, a matte. They're a little hardier. This is the aged rose stem, which again would actually pair well with the Juicy Olive. A very similar kind of vein, but this definitely has more cool tone in it. It's a rich kind of foresty green, but does have a little yellow undertone to it. So there's that with 3 little like swirls. I'm gonna put that right underneath here so you can see how I'm swatching. Oh, look at that, like zero patchiness when swatched. So again, I don't know what the eye is, and sometimes swatches aren't always a good indicator or not indicative of being great, but I don't have a fear about these at all. So yes, so this is, as I said, aged rose stem. So I think beautiful, beautiful, beautiful color. So this is Rust Rose. This is also a matte. Look at that. Look how stunning that is. Again, a deep reddish brown, I would say. Rust Rose is probably a nice name for it. This one's a little drier than the previous two. Okay, so this is Rust Rose. I'm gonna place it underneath this one. But very, very nice pigmentation. Like, that's gorgeous. This is Blush Pink, again from the same palette. So it looks like there. It's kind of like a ballet medium pink. Definitely a blue tone. You're not really getting it on the camera there. Hopefully when I swatch it, it'll be a little bit more true to life. Oh, that's really pretty. This is definitely not a pink. It's like more of a bubblegummy kind of mid-tone pink. these are the kind of pinks that I'm not a big fan of. And this one's called Thorn. It looks like it is a shimmer. It definitely is more of a golden bronzy green. More of like almost like an antique gold, I would say. We're gonna place that there. That's really beautiful. Like, I will have to say their shimmers are incredibly impressive, but I'm like really impressed with their mattes too, not knowing how good their mattes were. This is Bouquet, and it's a deep, well, you can look for it there. It's a deep kind of pinky cranberry color. That's it there. Okay, let's swatch that underneath. Oh, that's so beautiful. Look at that. Oh, this is Blossom. So this is an icy pink shimmer. Very, again, creamy. A little more kick up than other ones. I'm gonna put that here. Yeah, it definitely has a little more flakiness to it, but it's a beautiful light pink, icy pinky color. So those are it there. Is it better this way maybe? Like those are pretty true to color, I would say. I'm just gonna have a little tea with this. Love this mug. I got this mug, I think a student gave this to me when I was a teacher. Way back when. Okay, so let's do the first one here. This one's called Coconut Slushie. This is a little fragile. It was a little bit broken up in the pan when it came, so I have to be just very cognizant of how I handle it. So this is Coconut Slushie. It's a foiled pressed pigment. The ones from the Vintage Rose didn't give any more other than the name and what collection it was from. It didn't tell me like if it was foiled versus like just a shimmer or whatever. I'm not too sure of Gimme Glow's formulas, to be honest with you. Okay, so this is Coconut Slushie. I'm gonna put it underneath here. So that definitely has a lot of kind of almost like an orangey brown to it, like a tan type color. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on. I think I forgot maybe a couple from the Vintage Rose. Sorry, this is also from the Vintage Rose. This is Velvet Petals. It's a really deep, beautiful burgundy matte. A little drier, but that's it there. Let's put that underneath Coconut Slushie. Yeah, has a little bit more patchiness to it, but that doesn't mean anything when it's on the eye. So a beautiful burgundy. This is called a Buffy. These are the kind of shades I do like on a regular basis. Now they're very basic bitch, but I like them. They're kind of rich and metallic. So this is a nice bronze color, not too orange of a bronze, which I don't like. Let's just put that here. I'm kind of running out of space. Oh, I made a gap a little bit too much. So that's kind of a cool tone, although it does have a bronze to it. And two more, and then we're done. This last one is Retro Beige. It's a matte, past pigment again. Okay, let's, 1, 2, 3. That's a little creamier. Okay. So this is like a cool tone, neutral brown, I would say. And then lastly, it's my last one out of all of them. This one, I didn't realize when I ordered it that it was a pressed glitter. This is called a Glittery Champagne. It's a mirror finished pressed glitter. So it definitely has more of a champagne beige undertone. But I have to tell you, for being a pressed glitter, yes, it's a little rough. Yes, it's a little flaky, but the effect is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, here we go. That's it there. Okay, so that is my Give Me Glow singles and in palettes and single forms, and I will eventually put those into magnetic palettes. Just to let you know a little bit more about, again, my kind of skin type, and obviously just what I have to deal with in terms of what kind of eye shape. As you can see, I probably, if I really let my eyebrows relax, I do have a hooded eyes. And they're a little more mature, so the elasticity isn't as like taut and as firm as I had like when I was like, you know, 25. So I'm really actually kind of excited to try these. So I'm gonna take this one right here. This is the Rusted Rose. I'm gonna use a blending brush. This happens to be Smith 247. So I'm just gonna dab in there very lightly, tap it off. I'm gonna kind of put this out here to the corner and just try her out. So I like to put mine above, I'm gonna put the color above my actual hood, so there can be towards the outer side, or towards the outer part of my eye, and then also bring it in a little bit. I'm gonna work on a little bit on the inside here and bring it up. That's what we're looking at right now. Okay, so that's where I'm just gonna keep that one for right now. And then I'm gonna take the Copper Rose. I'm gonna take this, another one from Smith. I love this because it has almost like an arrowhead to it, very point. I'm gonna wipe off any of that. I don't know what I was using the other day. Oh, I was using a blue. Okay, so now I'm taking that. I'm just going to just dip in there, knock off any excess. Again, these shimmers are a little more fragile, I feel. I'm gonna put this in the center. This reminds me of one of my favorite colors I like to wear just on their own. It's from Ardency Inn. And it's the rose gold color. I really like this color. These are the kind of colors that I enjoy wearing. Yes, yes. So I've put it kind of in the center, and I'm going to go back into that Rusted Rose. I think I'm going to say that. Yeah, Rust Rose, sorry. And I'm just going to kind of blend the two. So I'm also just going to take a little bit of that Rust Rose and just kind of bring the two together. So when you're holding, just little tips, when you're holding a brush, if you want really light blending, you want to hold it further away from the ferrule. And then if you want a little bit really kind of get in there and just a little bit heavier, then you would want to go closer. I'm going to bring this down under. I may want something just to kind of deepen up, just to give it a little bit more. I'm going to take this deep burgundy color and then just kind of go more towards the outside, just to give it a little more depth and intrigue. I'm also going to bring that velvet petal underneath just for some cohesiveness. Okay, and I just want to make sure I'm not losing that Rusted Rose at all. I'm going to take a little bit of that Copper Rose and then just kind of put a little bit right here under the lash line in the middle that lines up with there. Kind of give it a good blend. There's nothing on it, just a blend, just so that there's no harsh lines. Okay. I'm going to use concealer because concealer is your friend when kind of cleaning it up, because right now we're not completely done. I think I'll probably use these as blushes too. Oh my god, some of these would be so pretty as blushes. Okay, so I'm going to take my trusty friend Giorgio Armani, just here and here. Skin's not looking too bad today. Not too bad today. So I'm going to put it up I'm going to help out. I'm not putting it directly underneath the eye quite yet. And just when I have a just ever so slight amount on my brush. And then I'm just going to take this to kind of help clean up the eye area a little bit. And I've got some powder in my eye. That's okay. I want a nice rounded kind of look. It follows kind of like the shape of my actual eye. Okay, so I'm gonna finish the other eye off camera and do my blush and all that, and we'll come back and I'll show you what the finished look is. This is the finished look. I know it's maybe a little more intense than you would want to wear out on a day. I think I'm a little bit skewed here. There we go. Yeah, it's a little more oomph than I would probably wear on the daily, but I think it's a really beautiful rosy kind of look. I don't know, it's what I kind of like to do when I'm not really doing much. But I'll tell you what I finished off with. I use the Nars Dolce Vita. It's their liquid blush, super liquidy. And then I also, and it's very appropriate, used the Melt. Which one did I use? Old Rose, I think it was. Yeah. I used the Melt's Old Rose from their lipstick collection, which I think ties in beautifully with this look, similar kind of tones. And yeah, so I am kind of digging it. So just a kind of I guess a synopsis of how I feel in summary. Give Me Glow, I really enjoy the pan size is huge. You're never gonna really, I don't think I'm ever gonna get through it, to be honest with you. I think it's 3 grams of product, I wanna say. Yeah, I don't know. And some of the mattes are a little drier than others. I found the ones in the Juicy Olive a little more silky, a little more smooth. The ones that are singles from the Vintage Rose collection, a little bit drier in formula, but obviously different colors. I don't know if the palette versus the singles are any different, but I did find the Vintage Rose a little drier, but that doesn't necessarily translate to anything negative when you're using it on the eye. I found that these blend out really nicely, and again, some of these were actually some of the drier formulas that I put on the eye. I don't feel like there's any patchiness, you tell me, and when layering it on top of each other, I didn't find any kind of issue there. I know some formulas, there's some issues with layering. They all turned out as they should, where you can, so for me, shadows, yes, you're gonna blend, and when you mix, like say, like red and blue, you're gonna get purple, but they also should have a distinctive color and remain so if you're not really super blending them together. You dig? You know what I mean? So for me, I found that these do stay true to their actual colors without blending away to like a nothingness, right? Like the Rusted Rose, you could still see it, or the Rust Rose, I should say, you can still see it on the eye, and it's not changing the color. I also find that whatever you see in the pan is what translates onto the skin. So that's always nice too, because there's nothing worse than, you know, you're swatching, coloring, and looking at the pan like that does not even look like that. So there is a trueness there. There's a beautiful saturation and pigmentation that I've tried so far. So I'm pleasantly happy with what I have tried thus far from Give Me Glow. I did have a look on my Instagram with using the Juicy Olive at one point. That's when I did the original video for this, and so I didn't want to waste the look. I am really quite pleased, as I already mentioned, and if you have tried any kind of Give Me Glow shadows, please list your favorites down below. I'm actually looking forward to, I think, purchasing a little more, but as I have already mentioned, I am going to go on a little bit of a low buy. I'm going to set myself a budget. So far, within the month of January, I've been very good about it. Take care, guys. I'm so happy that you joined me, and please stay safe and take care of each other, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.